You're still watching Morning Live. Now, Warren Ingram is back with another book titled Global Investing Made Easy, Your Wealth Creating Guide to International Markets. In this book, the award-winning financial planner and personal finance commentator focuses on providing novice investors with practical guidelines on how to invest overseas while helping them to avoid the inherent pitfalls. Well, Warren joins us now on Zoom to tell us more. Warren, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you so much. It's great to be on the show.
I suppose we should start with why you say there was a need to write a book that focused solely on investing overseas. Tell us a little bit more.
I think our industry in South Africa is plagued by a few people, a few commentators that sell global investing as a fear mechanism. They only kind of talk about the reasons to leave South Africa or take your money out, and it's all based on South Africa's going down the tubes, etc. And for me, that was really frustrating, and I felt really one-sided and actually completely inaccurate. So I think there is a need for people to invest their money overseas, and certainly a portion of their money, but they need to do it in a structured way. They need to have a proper game plan. And so I felt, if I look at all the questions I was getting on social media from people about global investing, it was time to write something for South Africans, but in a structured and disciplined way.
Mm-hmm. Give us a brief description of what a global investment entails.
So that's the ability to go take your money and invest it in places like the US, Europe, Asia, and especially China, so that you get exposure to companies and industries that we just don't have in our country. Particularly things like the pharmaceutical businesses. Especially now with COVID. Trying to invest in vaccine-making companies or investing in China. The world's fastest-growing economy. And I guess in the US with the big tech businesses, and it's important for us to get exposure to those as South Africans, but we just need to know how to do it. So the idea of global investing is to take your money, send it overseas, make sure that you can get the growth on your capital while you're living here, and hopefully, 1 + 1 gets you to 2.5.
And what would you say are some of the first steps that novice investors must take when entering the global markets?
I think we need to know that it sounds funny to say it, but the global markets are massive, and we need to know that we can't be experts on every part of the investment world. So when you go, I think send your money overseas. Make sure that you buy something that's properly diversified. That's got exposure to all the markets in the world. And an easy way to do that, for example, is a global index, something like the MSCI World Index, which to me is a great way of getting exposure to global investments at a very low cost. Or if you want to buy a unit trust, buy a global equity fund is generally what they are called. And those are great ways to build up, your global investments. And you can do it over time. You don't need to send all your money out in one shot. But certainly, I think, lots of diversification, lots of spread across the world, and then take your time, be patient. Investing is a 10, 20-year game. It's not a one-year game.
You've just touched on the do's, but what are the do-nots that investors should try and avoid?
One of the things that's kind of happening at the moment is FOMO, fear of missing out. And so a lot of the time investors get excited about their friends telling you that they've just made, doubled their money on a cryptocurrency, or they've just bought a share in the States that's gone up. We see this thing in America called Robinhood, which is a trading platform which was kind of driven by FOMO, and lots of people were going on social media and talking about how much money they made, and then all of a sudden, the shares they were buying all collapsed because, they weren't really that valuable to start. So I think when you're going to invest overseas, just be really careful that you do it for a structured, planned reason. Don't invest overseas out of emotion, whether that's greed because everyone else is telling you about how much money they're making, or out of fear because some talking head is, telling you that the country's going to collapse in South Africa and, cash in your retirement funds and just send all your money out. Both of those are terrible reasons.
I mean, the key factor in the book centers around is financial freedom. Tell us more about this and how global investing can provide this.
So financial freedom, there are 3 steps to financial freedom. The first is you have to get debt-free, and I think that's a tough one for most of us in South Africa. And then the second step is you need to build up an emergency fund which covers at least 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses. And then the last step is to build up your investments so that they can give you an income every month that covers your expenses. I mean, it's a fairly simple plan to explain, but I know it's quite difficult to do. And global investing goes to the third step, which is to say, when you build up your investments, one of the keys, one of the secrets to investing is that good diversification is kind of the only free lunch you get in the investment world. Because, if you've got a good spread of assets across South Africa and across the globe, it means that there will always be portions of your money that are growing, and there'll be portions that may not be doing well. But if you've got a good spread, you've got the ability to grow your money and manage your risks.
And how do you stop yourself, though, from taking from the one that's not growing and then, going to the one that is, that's giving you reason to grow? Do you understand? Like you just said, spread it across, but then you have that urge to say, you know what, actually, that one is not doing, let me move it around.
Yeah, that's the trick to investing is, I think, we're not programmed as human beings to be incredibly patient. We want instant gratification. So I think it's just important to always understand that, if something's growing, the ability to keep your money in the other parts of your portfolio which are not growing, those are probably the ones that will be your next steps of growth. Those will be the ones that will give you the future growth. So it's great at the moment, to have an investment that's doing very well. But when you look at the portion that's not doing well, I think you need to say to yourself, okay, so this is the next 5 years of growth. It's not going to be what's happening right now. And I think that might help. And also just know that, if you've got a good spread, I talk about index investing all the time because I think, that's the real, benefit for private investors is to buy an index. And just understanding that, indexes go up and down many times through a year and every 5 or 10 years. But over long periods of time, if you're patient, those are the things that really grow and really build your wealth over time. And it actually takes so little effort from you. You can be sleeping while your money's working for you in Asia or in America. And, you don't have to do anything. You just need to be patient. And I know it's easy for me to say it, but I know it's difficult to do.
Now, what's the one important advice you normally give to global investors?
I would say make sure that you've got your mix of assets right. In other words, if you want to grow your capital over long periods of time, you need to have a high exposure to shares. The shares are your best asset class for giving you capital growth. Unfortunately, they come with a roller coaster ride of going up and down all the time. But if you're patient and you focus on the long term, you will be rewarded as a global investor. And I think that's the key. A lot of us aren't patient, but if you can be patient, get your mix right, be diversified, you'll be okay.
All right, Warren, thank you so much for speaking to us. He's an award-winning financial planner and personal finance commentator, Warren Ingram, speaking to us about his book titled Global Investing Made Easy.